You know those metal grates on the side of the road, the storm drains? Yeah, we've all seen them a million times. They're so common we probably don't even register them anymore. But what if I told you those everyday drains are hiding a huge secret about the health of our local lakes and rivers? Let's take a closer look. Okay, so picture this. A big storm rolls in, the rain is pouring down, and you see all that water rushing down the street and just disappearing into that grate. But have you ever really stopped and wondered, where does it actually go? I mean, it has to end up somewhere, right? I think for most of us, the logical guess is that it all goes to some kind of water treatment plant. You know, we imagine this system where all that gunk from the street gets filtered out, cleaned up, and made safe. It's kind of that comforting, out of sight, out of mind idea. But what if that whole system we just assume is there isn't? What if that journey from your street to the lake is a whole lot shorter and a lot less clean than any of us think? So here it is, the big reveal. On the left is the myth we all kind of believe in, that the water gets treated. But the reality? It's a direct pipeline. There is no filter, there is no treatment. That storm drain on your street is basically a one-way, non-stop express lane straight into the nearest body of water. For a place like Canyon Lake, that means straight into the lake. And there's a really important reason it's designed this way. It all comes down to one word: speed. A storm drain's #1 job is to prevent streets from flooding. To do that, it has to move huge amounts of water away as fast as possible. Sending it to a treatment plant first would just slow everything down and cause backups. So it's built for speed, not for cleaning. Okay, so if we know it's a direct shot from the street to the lake, that brings up a pretty serious question. What else is in that rainwater? What's actually getting washed down that drain and ending up in the water where we swim and fish? Well, the list is pretty much everything you'd expect to find on a street. We're talking fertilizers from our lawns, pet waste, oil that drips from our cars, grass clippings, leftover paint, even little things like cigarette butts and trash. All of it gets swept up in the rain and takes that one-way trip right into the lake. Now, I know what you might be thinking. You look at that list and see grass clippings or leaves and think, come on, how bad can that be? It's natural stuff. And that's a fair point, but the answer is actually pretty surprising. See, here's the thing. When tons and tons of that natural stuff, like grass and leaves, gets into the lake and starts to break down, it releases a massive amount of nutrients. It's like dumping fertilizer directly into the water. And what does fertilizer do? It makes things grow. In this case, it fuels those huge, nasty, and sometimes toxic algae blooms that can choke the life out of a lake. And it's a similar deal with another thing that seems harmless, just plain old dirt. You know, the loose soil from a garden or sediment from a construction site that washes into the gutter. That soil doesn't just dissolve, it makes the water all murky and cloudy, which blocks sunlight that underwater plants need to survive. And even worse, it eventually settles on the bottom of the lake, covering up the rocky spots where fish need to lay their eggs. It literally buries their habitat. And you know, this isn't just a problem for one single lake. These water systems are all connected. The pollution that starts in Canyon Lake doesn't stay there. It flows downstream, affecting Lake Elsinore, and keeps on going, all the way to the Santa Ana River. It's a real chain reaction. Look, I know this can all sound like a huge, depressing problem, but here's the really cool part. If the problem literally starts right there on our own streets and driveways, then that means the solution does too. We actually have the power to stop this pollution right at the source. And the things we can do are actually super simple. Like, instead of hosing down your driveway and washing everything into the street, grab a broom and sweep it up. Instead of blowing your grass clippings into the gutter, bag them up. And the obvious stuff, right? Always pick up after your pets, and take things like old paint or motor oil to a proper disposal place. Every single one of these little actions adds up to make a huge, huge difference. This quote just nails it, doesn't it? It's all about changing how we see things. A storm drain isn't some magic garbage disposal where things just vanish. You have to think of it as part of the lake itself, just an extension of it that happens to be on your corner. So the next time you see the rain coming down and you watch that water rushing along the curb, you'll know exactly where it's headed. And once you know that, you're not just looking at a drain anymore. You're looking at the very beginning of your lake. And what you decide to keep out of it, that really matters.